My child, I see you there, holding on to your questions like lifelines in the dark. I see the loneliness that lingers, the ache of unanswered prayers, the fear of falling short again. I see the doubts that hover like shadows, whispering lies. You've been forgotten. You're too late. You don't matter. But hear me now. This moment isn't random. It's not just another nice message or motivational word. I am speaking directly to you. This is the line between what was and what will be. The storm that swirled around you, yes, I saw it, but it wasn't meant to destroy you. It was preparing the ground for what I am about to build. You've wondered if I heard your cries, if your prayers vanished into silence. You've asked if your tears even mattered. Let me tell you with absolute clarity, not one moment of your pain has been overlooked. Not one prayer has gone unheard. Not one tear has fallen without purpose. I've seen the confusion. I've heard the lies. You're too broken. You missed your moment. You're unworthy. But I'm speaking truth over every falsehood now. I'm cutting through the fog that's tried to cloud your vision. I'm unlocking doors that fear tried to keep shut. Not to expose you, but to set you free. That shame you carried, it was never yours to hold. You've stayed when others walked away. You kept believing when everything inside you said, I don't understand. You chose grace instead of bitterness, forgiveness instead of rage. That kind of faith doesn't go unnoticed. Your quiet obedience has shaken heaven itself. What looked like delay was my precision. What felt like rejection was my protection. And the enemy, he thought you'd give up. He said they'll quit. Their hope will starve. Their light will fade. But he underestimated the fire I placed inside you. And now, every second of your endurance is a weapon against him. So, hear me. I've shattered the traps hidden in your path. I've canceled the curses spoken over your name. This moment you've been waiting for? It's here, not loud, not flashy, but real, right here, where the quiet meets the miraculous. The key I've placed in your hand today, it's not for one door. It's a master key for relationships, healing, purpose, peace, freedom that flows from every corner you once thought locked forever. This turning point isn't just for your comfort, it's for those who follow you. Your courage will become their compass, your healing, their hope, your voice, the echo they need to hear in their own wilderness. So stand tall, beloved. Lift your eyes higher. The lies spoken in the dark are being drowned out by my truth. The atmosphere is shifting. Your season of survival has ended. Now comes your season of strength. This is your divine summons. Walk forward. Speak boldly. Move with the certainty that I am with you. The road ahead won't be easy, but it will be worth it, and you won't walk it alone. Listen until the very end. My final word over your life isn't striving. It's victory, not shame, but beloved, not prisoner, but heir. Everything you've endured has prepared you for this. The light in you no longer hides. The voice in you no longer shakes. And the love in you is no longer held back by old wounds. You've learned endurance through hardship, compassion through pain, and strength through surrender. You've been refined, not ruined. And now everything that seemed random is converging into purpose. Nothing was wasted. I see what no one else saw. I heard the prayers you whispered with trembling hands, and I'm bringing what was hidden into the light, not to shame you, but to release you. No more confusion, no more invisible cages. This is your moment. Now rise and walk into it. I am with you, always. The illusions are lifting now, the smiles that hid agendas, the praise that was only control in disguise. Every quiet plan meant to shrink your spirit is losing its grip. Like fog, giving way to morning light, what was hazy is beginning to take shape. You're not imagining it. Clarity is settling in, slow but sure, and I am the one pulling back the curtain, not to overwhelm you, but to steady you. Truth doesn't shout. It doesn't demand drama or spectacle. It stands patiently, waiting for space. I'm not here to expose you. I'm here to release you. What you're seeing isn't punishment. It's freedom arriving with grace. Partial truth only prolongs confusion, and you've walked through enough of that. So now, I am bringing full daylight. Yes, some of it may sting at first, but it's a gentle unraveling, a breaking of the invisible ropes that tried to define you. You will no longer answer to names I never gave you. I'm removing the labels, the ceilings, the cages you didn't consent to. The world tried to put you in a box. I'm handing you the key. This isn't about dramatic exits or loud declarations. I don't need performance. I'm looking for honesty. And that's already rising in you, quietly but steadily. Your truth won't need applause to stand strong. It will show up in the way you breathe easier, the way your presence shifts rooms. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't need to argue your worth. Let peace be louder than your defense. Let clarity replace the urge to explain. When light enters, darkness doesn't negotiate. It just leaves. And that's what you'll see happen. The rumors, the misunderstandings, the cold shoulders, they'll lose power, not because you fought back, but because truth is standing in the room now. You are not here to be small. This is your season of freedom, not the kind that's reckless or noisy, but the kind that fits your soul, the kind that aligns with who you've always been underneath the edits, the compromises, the silence. You will find yourself drawn toward what matters and unbothered by what doesn't. There will be no more over-explaining, no more apologizing for your intuition, no more shrinking to fit spaces that never honored you.
You'll wake up and feel it, like breath in your lungs for the first time in a long time. The old voices that whispered, "Not enough," "Too broken," "Too late," they're losing their volume. In their place is my voice, constant, kind, and clear. I call you whole. I call you chosen. I call you mine. And I'm not just clearing out the lies. I'm breathing life back into what was lost. Those dreams you tucked away, the ones that felt too risky to hope for, they're not dead. They've just been waiting for you to come back stronger. This time you won't be paralyzed by fear. This time you'll move, not with pressure, but with peace. Every quiet act of courage, reaching out, speaking truth, setting a boundary, choosing rest, it'll send a ripple. Because others are watching, and your healing is giving them permission to hope again. You're not just walking out of darkness for yourself. You're making a path visible for others too. That's the kind of freedom I offer, the kind that multiplies. You'll see it in passing conversations, in how people begin to breathe easier around you, how they start remembering who they were before fear took over. Don't shrink from that. Don't brush it off. You're carrying light now, not because you chased it, but because you welcomed it. And light spreads. Everything you've walked through was not wasted. Every battle, every night you thought no one saw, every silent victory, it brought you here. And here is holy ground. You're not behind. You're right on time. You're not broken. You're breaking through. So step forward, quietly, confidently, not as who you were told to be, but as who you truly are. The freedom is real now. Let it lead you. There were seasons when you questioned everything, your purpose, your place, even your ability to continue. But the silence wasn't empty. It was sacred ground being carved beneath your feet. In those long stretches of uncertainty, something deeper formed. Not the flashy kind of strength that draws attention, but the quiet kind that holds when everything else falls. Now you are being called forward, not just as someone who endured, but as someone transformed by what they walked through. You don't need to prove anything. Your presence will speak for itself. The moment you walk into the room, something shifts. It's not volume, it's weight. The kind of weight truth carries when it's lived, not just spoken. You learn to stand when nothing made sense. That steadiness, it's rare. It unsettles falsehoods before you ever speak a word. Because you no longer live to impress, the air around you becomes breathable for others too. You create space just by being honest. That's power. The kind rooted in authenticity, not control. The pressure to explain yourself, to argue your worth, it's fading now. You're not here to win debates. You're here to be light. And light by nature doesn't compete with darkness. It just is. Your life has become a steady witness to the truth. Not perfection, not performance, just quiet consistency. And that is what will change the atmosphere. Not force, not spectacle. Just you, whole, awake, and no longer hiding. You've been given new clothing now. Not physical garments, but a visible shift in how you carry yourself. It's not heavy. It's made for movement, not ceremony. Let it rest on you without striving. It's not your job to convince others you've changed. The fruit will speak for you. Time will confirm what words never could. Some people will feel uncomfortable around your clarity. That's okay. Let them. Their discomfort isn't a reflection of your worth, but of their own readiness. You're not called to dim yourself, to make others feel at ease. You're called to walk forward with compassion and conviction. The ones meant to walk with you will recognize the light and choose to follow it too. As you move, you'll notice the path underfoot feels steadier. The walls that once boxed you in have crumbled, and what's ahead isn't a threat. It's an invitation. The horizon no longer warns of danger. It whispers possibility. And even when you felt most alone, when no one seemed to see your fight, there were voices beyond the noise. In places your eyes couldn't reach, your name was spoken with honor. Not for your perfection, but for your persistence. Those quiet messengers celebrated your courage to hope when it felt like hope had run out. Their song wasn't about applause. It was about staying soft in a hard world, about choosing belief when fear tried to harden your heart. Every time you rose after falling, heaven took note. Not because you never broke, but because you didn't give up. This resilience, that doesn't always look heroic on the outside, is rewriting what impact really means. You are showing others that success isn't in avoiding failure, but in refusing to be defined by it. Now a new moment is approaching. It's not arriving with fireworks or loud announcements. In fact, it may look ordinary, just another day, another decision. But don't miss it. Sometimes the answer you've been waiting for comes wrapped in small moments. A conversation, a sudden peace, a quiet door swinging open. Stay present. Let your senses stay sharp in the everyday. Not everything divine comes dressed in spectacle. Sometimes destiny walks in wearing plain clothes. So move slowly. Move honestly. And when that stirring comes again, follow it. This time you're ready. The answer you've waited for isn't wrapped in gold. It doesn't arrive with fireworks or fanfare. It comes quietly, simple in form, but weighty in purpose. The key you've been seeking doesn't demand attention. It was shaped through obedience, held steady by waiting, and given to you in stillness. This key doesn't just open a door, it opens a way forward. One small turn can change everything, not because of the key itself, but because of what it represents. Trust over control, surrender over striving. You're not being asked to force anything, only to respond when the moment arrives. Don't wait for confirmation that looks like the past. What's ahead won't follow old patterns. It's new, subtle, and you'll recognize it not by noise but by a deep knowing, a whisper that settles like peace in your bones. That's your sign. The key might unlock more than you expect. Dreams you shelved, questions you buried, prayers you whispered in the dark, all begin to move. A single door opens, and like wind through a house long closed, everything shifts. The air feels lighter. Vision clears. What was delayed begins to flow, not by effort, but because the time has finally come. You don't need to grasp tightly. Hold the moment lightly, as if it were always meant to pass through your hands, not stay clenched in your grip. You were never meant to carry the weight of outcome, just to walk in step with timing. As you move forward, the ripple of your choice touches more than your own life. Generations before you, who dreamed in silence, those who hoped without ever seeing the outcome, feel the shift. This breakthrough is part of a legacy. You walking through the door makes space for others to follow. Sometimes courage is just doing the next right thing. One simple act of faith, one yes in the face of fear. That's how movement starts, and that's enough. When the key touches your hand, things begin shifting behind the scenes. Relationships once strained begin to soften. Conversations open. Ideas you buried beneath discouragement rise again, this time with clarity. Even the parts of you thought were too broken, too tired, too late, those too are being restored. But it's not chaos. It's alignment. What once felt stuck now moves smoothly. What once resisted now welcomes you in. You'll feel the difference. And you'll know, this was never about luck. This was timing meeting preparation. This was grace finding its mark. This moment won't be loud, and it may not be celebrated by everyone, but you'll feel the internal shift, a lightness, a release. Let gratitude be your response. You don't need to shout about the change. Just live it. Your life will say more than words ever could. As new opportunities appear, stay grounded. You're not being asked to perform, just to remain true. Integrity builds what ambition never could. And what's being built now? It will last. Because it's not about being remembered. It's about being aligned. You'll know this isn't just a chapter. It's the beginning of something deeper. The design was written before you even knew to ask for it. And now, pieces are falling into place. Don't fear the drawers being reopened. They're not revisiting pain. They're reclaiming purpose. You'll find treasures in the places you thought were empty. Wisdom in what you once called failure. Strength in the memory of how far you've come. Every step is part of the story. Nothing has been wasted. Every delay, every detour, even the silent years, they've all led here. So when the invitation comes, however ordinary it looks, say yes. Turn the key and walk through. What once left you confused or even broken is being pieced together with care. The delays you hated, the twists you didn't ask for, the detours that felt like failure. They weren't derailments. They were realignments. Each step, each setback was quietly reshaping the path to match the story meant for you from the beginning. What didn't make sense before is starting to. like turning a puzzle piece and suddenly seeing where it fits. Situations that once seemed wasted now echo with purpose. Painful moments are gaining perspective. And as understanding grows, so does trust. Because once you've seen meaning come from the mess, you stop panicking when you don't have all the answers. This isn't just about walking through doors. This is about rewriting names.
The labels others tried to stick to you, the narratives built from lies, the times your voice was ignored or twisted, they're being replaced. Truth is rising quietly but unmistakably, not to shame others, but to restore you. This restoration isn't about revenge. It's not about proving anyone wrong. It's about settling what's been unsettled within you first. Mistakes are being mended. Invitations are reopening. People who once dismissed you are now drawn to your insight without needing an explanation of where you've been. Let humility lead you through this part. Remember, the win is healing, not superiority. Even the atmosphere around you is shifting. Where there was tension, there's calm. Where there was judgment, there's grace. Conversations feel softer, thought patterns feel lighter. The internal pressure that once weighed down your spirit is lifting like early fog. You may notice it first in your body, in unclenched muscles, slower breathing, clearer thoughts. Let that peace settle in. Don't rush past it. Let it fill your day-to-day until it becomes your new normal. This change isn't something you push. It's something you receive. Light doesn't fight the darkness. It simply shows up. When it's real, you don't need to explain or defend. Just walk in it. Don't wait for others to recognize it first. Their applause isn't your permission slip. You've already been approved from a higher place. And when you stand in that quiet confidence, when you stop striving to prove yourself, people notice. Your peace speaks louder than any speech ever could. This healing will ripple outward, from your thoughts to your home, from your home to your community. Even the land you walk on feels the shift. What once felt stuck starts to move. Not because you pushed harder, but because the time is right. Look for the signs. Small reconciliations, shared laughter, surprising solutions. These are the confirmations, not dramatic but undeniable. Keep focusing on the heart. Let the waves do what waves do, reach places you don't have to manage. You waited quietly. You stayed faithful. You walked through fire and didn't lose your soul. Now, in unseen places, something has been declared on your behalf. Return what belongs to my child. And just like that, the locks start breaking. The doors begin opening. What once held back your provision is releasing. What felt impossible is shifting into place. Even the small things, parking spaces, schedule changes, sudden favor, start cooperating with what's unfolding. Get ready. What's ahead is not a small upgrade. It's a wider space, a bigger call. You're not just entering new rooms. You're stepping into responsibility, influence, and purpose. Measure your impact by the hope you give, not the recognition you receive. Let your words light a path for others. You won't be alone. Help will show up in quiet, humble ways, people, opportunities, insights that feel almost too well timed to be random. Trust them, use them, share them. This moment didn't come late. It came exactly when it needed to, for you and for those watching you from a distance, hoping something could still turn around. You are their sign. Now step forward, unshaken, unashamed, unafraid. The light is green. The key is in your hand. Walk through. It may feel unfamiliar at first, this peace, but accept it with a grounded kind of gratitude. You remember the nights when hope seemed crushed beneath the weight of silence, when breathing felt like labor, and each prayer fell like a pebble into a bottomless well. You weren't just tired. You were being targeted. Your voice, your identity, your direction. The plan wasn't destruction by fire, but slow suffocation by weariness. Yet here you are. You survived what was meant to silence you. That heaviness you carried wasn't imaginary. It pressed down for real and hard, but it never defined you. And now, strangely, it has become fuel. You feel it in how you reach out to others, how your heart responds differently now to the pain in someone else's eyes. What once nearly broke you has instead carved out space inside you for real compassion. This kind doesn't speak in empty cliches. It understands because it's lived it. Don't misremember the source of the worst doubt. It wasn't the people around you. It was something quieter, darker, whispers hoping to turn delay into disbelief, to twist isolation into the conclusion that you had no place, no call, no promise. But darkness underestimated something, the quiet strength that steady faith builds. With every unspoken lie, your thirst for truth only deepened. This is your reversal. And it's happening now, not through spectacle, but through a kind of steady turning. The same God who chose you before time began never left the watchtower. On nights you came closest to the edge, unseen hands kept you. And in the silence, one sentence rang out across dimensions you couldn't perceive. Not permitted. Those two words ended plots you never even knew were in motion. They slammed doors the enemy thought he'd unlocked. That phrase still stands today. Every time doubt whispers back into your space, remind yourself, not permitted. That word carried weight beyond explanation. With it, sorrow was cut off. Collapse was canceled. Your light didn't go out, it was preserved. You were never abandoned, you were being positioned. The prayers you thought bounced off ceilings, they rose. They built something, a sound that shook what could not be seen. Your tears, unnoticed by people, were counted by heaven. Your silence was never weakness. It was power gathering and restraint. You didn't have to strike back, you just had to keep standing. That steadiness cracked chains you didn't even know you were dragging. And when the enemy marked you off the map, your restoration began. No trumpet blew, no spotlight came on, but things began to shift in the quiet, like the way winter ice begins to fracture when the thaw begins. Not loud, but inevitable. Moments that seemed minor when you chose to wait instead of lash out, when you forgave without applause, were tectonic. The surface stayed the same, but underneath, freedom was being released. Now, what looks like a fresh start is really a continuation, a chapter long awaited. The fire in you wasn't gone. It was guarded, banked, protected until the timing matched the purpose. Now the timing has come and nothing will hold it back. Picture those coals under gray ash, dormant but glowing, waiting for breath. That breath has come. You didn't just make it through, you crossed over. This isn't a moment to boast, it's one to build. You're proof of what quiet endurance can carry. Walk forward now, not hunched by old fear, but lifted by new confidence. Let your steps be steady. Let your thoughts be clear. You'll speak less loudly now, but with more weight. You don't need to convince anyone. You'll walk, and the truth will follow. What others might call coincidence, you'll recognize as guidance. Look back, not to mourn what was lost, but to marvel at what held you. Look ahead, not with pressure, but with peace. The way forward is lit, not by hype, but by quiet confirmation. You'll see it in open doors, in unexpected kindness, in small signs that add up to something unmistakable. You're not lucky. You're covered. You're not starting over. You're stepping in. This was never the end. It was always the turning point. You thought it was the end, but it was a turning point. The weight you carried wasn't proof of weakness. It was proof of worth. Heavy things aren't given to hollow vessels. Each night you pushed through was a declaration that you hadn't been broken, only stretched. It wasn't loud and it wasn't pretty, but it was real. And real faith rarely looks polished. It looks like showing up when your voice shakes. It looks like walking through another day when you don't feel like anything is changing. But it was. Oh, it was. The enemy didn't try to destroy you with one blow. That would have been too obvious. Instead, he used delay, confusion, fog that made every choice feel like a risk. He used silence, not as absence, but as distortion, to make you think no help was coming. He whispered that you were too late, too tired, too forgotten. But he underestimated what silent faith can become, because what you learned in the silence couldn't have been learned in the spotlight. You developed strength that does not shout. You gained clarity without needing an audience. And now, without realizing it, you stand taller, not from pride, but from alignment. Something inside you found its center. There were days you almost gave in, not because you were weak, but because carrying hope without evidence takes strength most people never understand. But grace was never far. Even in moments when your hands were too tired to reach, help had already been dispatched. Not to stop the pain entirely, but to make sure you didn't drown in it. That ache you carried? It's now the door to your compassion. Those private tears became rivers of empathy. You feel deeper now. You listen better. Not out of fear, but from knowing what it's like to need someone to simply stay. That's not brokenness. That's transformation. And now the tide has begun to turn, not with grand announcements, but with subtle shifts. You're noticing peace where panic once lived. You're moving through rooms you used to avoid. You don't flinch when quiet comes. You welcome it. It's not that the scars are gone. It's that they no longer bleed. They've become reminders, not of damage, but of healing.
Proof that you've crossed something others still fear. And because of that, your presence brings rest, not performance, not answers, just the kind of calm that only comes from one who knows the way through. So yes, you're moving forward, but not as the same person. You're carrying less fear and more wisdom, less noise, more clarity, less explanation, more direction. Because real guidance doesn't need to shout to be heard. It's felt, deeply, quietly. Remember when you thought nothing was happening? When progress felt invisible? Those were the very days your roots were growing deep. That slow growth created stability no storm could shake. And now, the wind doesn't scare you. You've already survived the drought. You know where your water comes from. What's ahead won't always be easy, but it will be purposeful. Every delay will prove itself to be placement. Every no will point to a better yes. And the doors that open now won't require you to strive or beg. They'll match your pace. They'll fit your shape. Not because you manipulated outcomes, but because you were prepared. It's time to open the heart you protected for so long. Not recklessly, not without wisdom, but gently, intentionally. Let the light in. Let the laughter echo. Let rest settle deep into your bones. You don't need to fight your way into freedom anymore. You're already standing in it. Let this be the season where your inner stillness speaks louder than performance ever could. Let kindness be your momentum. Let patience be your weapon. Let curiosity replace anxiety. Your new strength isn't about domination. It's about alignment. You're no longer proving anything. You're simply walking in it. Those moments when you almost quit, they didn't cancel your calling. They clarified it. You know now what matters. You know how to stay when it's hard and how to go when it's time. You've learned how to hear what isn't said and sense what isn't shown. Your journey wasn't wasted. It was curated. Each trial shaped something necessary in you. Not one tear was dismissed. Not one prayer dissolved into nothing. They built something. And now you walk with unseen strength that leaves a wake of peace. Soon others will feel it. They won't know why, but around you they'll breathe easier. They'll trust more, because your life will be evidence that quiet faith works, that staying steady was not weakness, it was power. And now from that steady place you will guide, not with noise but with light. And that, beloved, was the point all along. They return not just as memories, but as direction, clearer now, and stitched into the fabric of who you've become. This turning point, it's not just yours. It's woven into the journeys of others you haven't met yet, whose paths will eventually cross yours. You won't need to force connection. It will happen naturally, like seeds planted long ago breaking through soil at the right moment. You'll notice how soft this shift feels, not like a crash or a burst, but more like a well-oiled door swinging open, quiet, sure, and unmistakably right. That gentleness will be your sign. This isn't random. This is rooted in kindness, proven not by big moments, but by the quiet ones that held you steady when no one else knew. Let that steadiness ring through you, not like a siren, but like a clear bell in the morning air, not to warn, but to awaken. Let fear slide back. Let worry lose its grip. You're standing where the light now meets you, because you're ready. Light never comes to shame the darkness. It comes to show you where to step. As that light wraps around you, something in your voice will soften. You'll find your rhythm again. Take one slow breath and notice. The invitation has always been this simple. Step forward. No need to fake courage. No need to have all the answers. Ask your questions. Keep your hope loose in your hand, not clenched. That is the shape of real bravery. Today, hold your heart open. Don't let past wounds whisper doubt when warmth begins to reach through the cracks. Pain may have spoken louder than purpose before, but now the message is clear. Even without knowing all the details, you sense it. This is different. This is yours. And yes, you still have questions. That's okay. Real direction doesn't arrive fully drawn. It forms as you walk. Trust that your feet will know the path the moment they touch it. That's courage too. Moving without every step mapped out. Believing the guidance will find you in motion. You've earned this trust. Not because life spared you, but because you kept choosing hope even in silence. Every scar taught you something about standing up. Every night you nearly gave up but didn't. That's resilience, and it's quietly remade you. You've become the kind of strong that doesn't need to shout. You see it now in your smallest habits. You pause before reacting. You offer grace faster than before. Your strength isn't performance, it's patience under pressure. The kind that was built when no one was clapping, and no spotlight was on you. That strength will help others now. This isn't just an opportunity, it's a quiet commissioning. You'll feel the nudge, a shift in the air, and when you do, respond. Not with panic, but with trust. You've heard this tone before, and you recognize it now. The trials behind you didn't disqualify you. They made room for humility to grow. The quiet hallways, the doors that didn't open, the wait that stretched long. They didn't erase you. They prepared you. So keep pace with that inner rhythm. Don't rush. The key in your hand. It doesn't open old doors. It opens something new. Not a room you've seen before, but one built to fit you exactly. No squeezing in. No shrinking down. Just space that holds your full measure. The tasks ahead aren't about grand achievements. They're about honest work, steady hands, and the joy of doing what you were meant to do. No more performance, just presence. That old promise you thought was buried, it's moving again. It never disappeared. It grew strong in the background, and now it rises into view, undeniable and unstoppable. You'll see it unfold not all at once, but like morning light creeping under the curtain. Soft, then strong. When it arrives, it will not be loud, but it will be unmistakably yours. Let humility walk beside you. This is not just for you. It's meant to ripple through your story, your voice, your example. Others still waiting in silence will hear in your experience that delay is not denial. It's often preparation, and their hope will rise just from knowing it. This is not a small adjustment. It's a turning, a complete reorientation. Even those who doubted or dismissed will take notice. But stay grounded. Visibility can tempt either pride or withdrawal. Walk forward with grace. Accept kindness. But don't chase the spotlight. Let your light do what it's meant to. Shine steady and point others home. Your circle will grow. Some who stood beside you in silence will now step forward with you in sunlight. Others will watch, wondering where your strength comes from. Smile and let them see. It came from quiet faith. It came from nights when hope whispered in the dark, and you believed anyway. The days ahead will bring beauty. Yes, there will be tears. But they will fall from relief, from joy, from realization. And as they do, let them soften any corners still hardened by survival. Let that softness turn outward, into compassion, not caution. You will lead, not because you asked to, but because you've been shaped for it. Not by flawless steps, but by faith that move forward anyway. Let your movement be slow when needed, bold when called. Keep your honesty intact. Admit when you still lean on grace. That vulnerability is not weakness. It is the very thing that makes your leadership real. Every ache, every delay, every misunderstood chapter was never wasted. It was the first act of the goodness now revealing itself. In countless dark hours, you kept a small light burning. That light, it's still with you, and now it's growing. You had every chance to take the shortcut, to wrap yourself in a quick comfort made of surface-level answers. But you didn't. You waited for truth, even when it came slow and quiet, even when no one was clapping. That choice didn't just shape your path, it shaped you. I saw it. Every time you chose depth over display, substance over speed, you carved something lasting in the unseen parts of your life. Not everyone will know the price you paid in silence, in private nights, when doubt pressed hard and no rescue seemed near. But the world will feel the benefit of that price. They already do. Your consistency has become a shelter. People will rest there, not because you shouted wisdom, but because your calm has become a landmark. Guard that calm. Its stillness speaks louder than any polished speech ever could, especially now. There are storms on the way, the kind that shake even strong voices, but your strength comes from deeper roots. Roots built in seasons when everything felt delayed, when doors you thought were promised seemed to close without reason. The delay was never denial, it was protection. What you thought was being overlooked was really you being planted deeper. If I had handed you everything too soon, it would have broken you. You weren't ready. But now the timing is near perfect. And someday soon, you'll look back and thank the pause. What felt like waiting was growing. What looked like stillness was strengthening. You no longer fear silence. You've learned how to wait without bitterness, how to stay still without losing belief. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. This is maturity, choosing strong foundations over fast results, resisting the spotlight when the work is still underground.
You've learned that confidence isn't the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear drive. You can still hear the whisper of worry, but you've stopped letting it touch the steering wheel. Let that calm lead you now. Rooms will shift when you walk in, not because you push your presence, but because steadiness has a sound people recognize, a quiet authority, a peace that isn't performative. They won't know exactly why, but they'll trust it. And when they ask, point them back. Tell the real story. Not the polished version, but the one where you almost gave up and didn't. The nights you cried, the days you nearly turned back, the moments you whispered, "I trust you," when nothing made sense. Tell them who held you when you could barely hold yourself together. Because this next chapter, it's not a reward, it's a responsibility. You've been trusted with influence, not to build your name, but to free others from fear. You're not here to dominate, you're here to guide. You're not here to impress, you're here to bless. Your glow won't come from pushing, but from reflecting something much greater than yourself. That's how others will know it's real. Not because it's flashy, but because it lasts. When everything else fades, truth stays. So does humility. Stay grounded. This breakthrough is not just for your comfort. It's not the closing of the story. It's the beginning of a ripple effect, reaching far beyond what you can see. The people around you will feel it. Some will breathe easier. Some will walk taller. Some won't be able to name it. They'll just know something is different when you're near. That's the quiet power of steadiness. It doesn't demand attention. It offers presence. And presence heals. So take your place. Not with pride, but with clarity. You're not here by accident. You've been called through fire, through silence, through seasons where nothing seemed to move. The evidence of that journey is written all over your posture. You don't cling. You don't compare. You don't perform. You stand. And that simple, strong stance will speak louder than noise ever could. Move with measured steps. Don't rush to prove. Let the results come as they will. Even if others question the pace or the plan, don't flinch. Keep adjusting. Keep listening. When resistance rises, answer it with patience. You've learned by now, faith that endures will always outlast fear that shouts. And one day, maybe not right away, but in time, even your critics will recognize what held was not hype. It was hope. Quiet, anchored, tested hope. The kind that doesn't shake when the spotlight shifts or the winds change. Let that be your legacy. You carry something rare, Let it be seen. Let it be shared. Not to draw attention to yourself, but to show others what's possible when you trust the process, when you let roots run deep. You've walked through shadows. Now walk in light. Not with arrogance, with assurance. You're not the same person who started this journey. You're steadier now, softer in the right places, clearer about who you are and whose you are. So go. Keep your pace honest. Keep your heart open. Keep giving what you've been given. You don't have to shout, you just have to shine, and I'll be right here. Still guiding, still near. Always. Amen.